push. Good evening. Michele Bonino, as the head of the Department of Architecture and Design. Just few words to welcome our guest today from Tongji University, Professor Philip Yuan. As you can see from this prototype, is going to give an explanation the very first time out of the Venice Biennale, I guess, because he just presented in the Venice Biennale Architettura 2025 an installation in the main exhibition, and so the lecture today will be based on what was inaugurated just a few days ago. Also, this is a very important day because the approval of the new joint program between Tongji University and Politecnico di Torino was issued yesterday from the Ministry of Education in China, so the Sino-Italian Engineering and Innovation Institute will be launched next year, having also, talking about the fields of our department, a Master of Science in Systemic Design inside. So a new institute, a new campus in between Politecnico and Tongji, based in Shanghai, where many students and professors will attend. So Philip, is the day also to celebrate. I leave the floor to Valentina Labriora to introduce you to our audience, and thank you very much again to be our guest today. Thank you.
Thank you everyone to be here today. As Yuan mentioned, today we have a pleasure to have the second lecture from Professor Philip Yuan. Professor Yuan is an Associate Dean in Tongji University and a Honorary Fellow of the American Institute of Architects and Editor-in-Chief of the Journal of Architecture Intelligence. He's also founders of the platform Digital Future that is now at the 15th edition. His research spans performance-based architecture tectonics and the development of intelligent construction technology. Is interesting the second lecture now because in the first one that we have in the morning, Professor Yuan focusing on the use of AI in his practice and in his research, and today we have the pleasure to have the first introduction of a real project that we can visit in Venice because it's now exposed in Venice. So warm welcome to Professor Philip Yuan for the second time today. So a pleasure. Thank you.
Dear Professor Mocelli and also dear friends here, and also we admire the very famous Spanish architect. Actually, my colleagues from Shanghai send me also several of his projects. So it's a great honor to be here, and a lot of friends actually based on the collaboration between Tongji and Polytechnic Torino. Actually, it's a long-term exchange program. And today is to celebrate a very special moment because which approved by the China Education Ministry, we will establish a special college in Tongji, and based on the collaboration between Polytechnic Torino and Tongji, 3 different institutes, including mechanical design, including the Design and Innovation Institute, and so on and so forth. I think in the future, based on this platform, more exchange program and also the education program will be set up. Actually, it means you will have another extension campus on Shanghai in China. I think it will be potentially give more opportunity for the traveling, not only the students, but also the faculty is also welcome to coming to Shanghai. We will share a lot of different scenarios, make research, not only in the market, but also academic world. I think it's a very great opportunity for the PhD students, researchers, and as well as the education program will be based on this platform. So, and also looking forward, maybe 2 years ago, we start to kick off the possibility to build 2 pavilions. So, being Professor Mocelli may lead the team to design and construct a pavilion in the center of Tongji campus, just nearby the historical landmark, the Great Hall of Tongji University. as well as maybe a potential possibility here for our team. We can design a pavilion, so we can exchange this kind of culture events and based on these special venues. I think a lot of possibility based on, I think, the long-term friendship and the future sharing and inclusive culture we want to establish based on the collaboration between Tongji and Polytechnic Torino. So thanks a lot for that. A few days ago, I think it's 9 days ago, I just landed in Venice and finished construct our pavilion. So this year, a very special, the curator is from Torino, Carlo Ratti, who graduated from Cambridge University and teach in MIT for more than 20 years. I met him actually around 15 years ago in MIT, Carlo Ratti. I think he established a Sensible City Lab, which is totally a cross-discipline research platforms to introduce the new technology, re-understanding how we communicate with space. The space in the future is not just about the physical space, but including the virtual space, and including the big data, how we can exchange knowledge based on this kind of data knowledge to embed it our life, not only in the physical space, but also in the virtual, plus collaborate with physical space in the future. So this is a topic for the Venice Biennale. It's about intelligence. So that is a new critical moment for all the expertise, for all the practitioners, really thinking on how AI will influence the future, the intelligence will influence our future. 2 weeks ago, I made a presentation in the UIA, United Nations of Architecture Council meeting to around 30 people. I make a proposal for, we need to strongly establish guidelines for how to introduce AI to the architect society. We're originally from the human-centric, the human designers actually make decision. The authorship is from the human designers. But when the AI platforms come in, you can see as many images spreading out for the bigger office, the easier for the followers, the users can learn a lot, can surpass the original signature architects. So that's the special moment to establish the game rules. So that is also, we consider this kind of a topic into the AI for architecture. This morning we make a decision on that. So today I want to go back to co-poiesis, which is a special topic. I made a proposal, I think 6 months ago to Carlo Ratti. And finally, we got selected as a special project for this Venice Biennale. There is 7 special projects in Arsenale you can visit, which is in the main exhibition space, one by one. So our exhibition pieces is located in the Zoom 6. You can take a look for that. So the topic also relates to the human noise. It looks like human, but it's robotics, right? Human noise. Human noise, I think the time for them is like the primitive age. It's like 5,000 years ago to human. So you can imagine 5,000 years ago, people sharing different kind of cage, right? Very primitive space for people to live in. So we're trying to analyze, we try to put forward if we can design a primitive space for the human noise. So this is a special moment for them, right? So we try to communicate with them and try to build something for them. So that is the topic we want to start. Actually, every year I will invite different philosophers coming to Tongji, Shanghai to make presentation and pick lectures. So Bernard Stiegler from Paris, from France, he is a world famous philosopher. The first time I invited him is 2018, and second time I invited him to make lecture online is 2021. So it's a pity after 2 weeks, he made lecture to these futures, he suicide and passed away. But his theory influenced a lot over the past few years, especially on the understanding about the holistic view of the planetary entropy. So the entropy is increasing, including the global warming is coming. So originally, the designer we designed the space is based on our understanding, the poetic and understanding about sunlight, about the the space, about the reuse of all the different kind of space. But the future is not just about reuse, which is about how to reduce the entropy on the planet, as well as we need to make the GDP growing for the whole citizens in different countries. So that's a different threshold and contradictory to each other. So the holistic view Bernard-Stiegler put forward is how to introduce non-human like intelligence from machine to help the people to re-understanding the planet, re-understand the relationship between human body to the nature. So it's kind of a new technical philosophy lecture which introduce the new relationship between human and the non-humans. So, and also this partnership will totally have a new dialogue to the nature, to how to change our life on the planet. So these are the philosophers. I strongly recommend the more readings, especially to our PhD students, to reading Bernard-Stiegler's writings, the new genesis and the new like intelligence to the urban space, to the city, and as well as to the architecture. And also in 2017, I invited Andy Clark, who is a British philosopher and who is very good make his theory on the cybers. Especially, he named human beings are natural-born cybers, but actually when we every day wake up, we'll take our mobile phone to see the message automatically sent to us actually based on your likeness, right? Your preference, because they send the images or send the news by the preference of what's your like over the past few days or few years. So this kind of extension of human body is the new cyber to the human body. So actually the natural born human body actually we must collaborate with some like the new cybers like machines, machine intelligence, which already existing with us right nowadays. So we should rethinking on the two as extension of human body. So that's all the philosophy background. Based on that, actually, over the past 15 years, we established a special platform named Digital Futures. Actually, every year we invited friends, invited philosophers, architects, and as well as practitioners coming all over the world, coming to Shanghai. So the 15 years, we have a huge number of the researchers coming to Shanghai and exchange new idea for the futures. So these are the participants. For example, in 2021, you can see each circle represents how many like participants from different universities. Because we are the organizers, so the maximum is from our own university. But UCL, you can see AA and HIT, FIU, all these kind of university from all over the world coming to join us. It's a very special event. After COVID in 2021, we have over 8,800 participants, online and offline, participated in Futures. That's a huge number, actually based on our philosophy, how to introduce the new knowledge, how to explore the new possibilities to architecture discipline, what we have done over the past few years. So last year, we put forward a special topic. The topic is architecture as a planetary science with a global science. So originally, we think architecture is a kind of art, right? As artistic design process. Or we take architecture as a special engineering work because we need to construct understanding the structures. But right now, we introduce more scientific research, including the data scientist, including the AI scientists, this kind of more scientific ways to augment it, collaborate with human beings. So we name it as like 3 keywords. What is the co-agency, co-pilot, and the coexistence? That is, last year, we have a huge discussions, panel discussions, seminars, and also lectures based on this topic. So it's like a debate platform, but actually students will engage, participate in the 9 days workshop, but follow that. Also, every week we have an online seminar in the platform of Digital Futures YouTube. You can check that. So this is participants offline in Shanghai, around 500 people every year. So this is like the ending ceremony. Our university president also joins us every year. So last year, I want to analyze a little bit about 3 topics which influence a lot to us. The first is what is co-agency? Because the human designers, we have design master here, actually that's human-centric because of understanding about space, history, heritage, renovation, this kind of things to introduce our understanding mindset to the response to the environment, existing built environment, right? So it's the agent is human agent. But right now, what is different is the agent coming from some machinic agency, like the AI toolbox is different AI agency. So we also this time introducing in Venice, we transport 4 humanoids. They take a seat on the plane like a human being, take the plane to Venice, just participate in Venice Biennale, but they are not human body, they are humanoids. So they're the special agent. In the future, we can predict we're sitting among us in the future. Maybe not the human body, could be like humanoids. So that is special agency. We need to coexist with them. We name it co-agent system. We must research on that. We must establish, program, or training the behavior pattern between the human body and the humanoids, and how this kind of humanoids can have different response to us. This is the co-agency time is coming. We announced that in the Venice Biennale. The second is what is co-pilot. It's like when you're driving, sitting beside you, and someone will guiding you by the map and telling you turn right, turn left. That's like pilot, right? If you drive the car, it's something like that. But the pilot in the future for architects, I think the training is totally changed. This morning I analyzed this because in the modernism time, we're training architects like the skills to design the object, right? Design a building. Building is an object, a physical space. And later we design some virtual spaces, also some experience, some like 3-dimensional space, right? But in the future, I think the architects were training not only just design the object, the buildings, but also we design the instruments, the tools how to make design, the tools how to represent the design, the tools how to interactively communicate with people. That is also should be designed by the architects. So I think in the future, the co-pilot toolbox could be developed, could be designed by our architects. So that is a co-pilot future we want to mention. And based on this kind of co-agent, co-pilot, I think, which is a co-existent, human and non-human, will exist on the planet, which is a philosophy we put forward, which is extremely important for the next generation, maybe the young students sitting here, that's your generation. But the most highlight for the future is the diversity we try to explore for the sustainable future. The diversity, first is the biodiversity, because a lot of like the plants, everything in the forest, urban forest, is planted by human body. We need some natural bio-environment, biospheres. So the biodiversity is this kind of human and non-human should, our wish is to design, create some more biodiversity for the future. The second is the technical diversity. I think when AutoCAD or like ChatGPT or this kind of top-down, very big AI platform, they dominate our communication platform will be a disaster, because we are looking forward to establish the authorship for the future generation. We want to find a different imagination, different creativity, which is based on the collaboration between human and the machine. So we need to explore how to design, how to make the technical diversity. That's the second diversity. The third diversity is about the new diversity. It's about the mindset. The mindset should produce by the toolbox, by the environment, how we communicate with each other, with different culture, with different religions, with different machines in the future as well. So I think this is 3 diversity I put forward. Last year we make discussion on that. There's also at the top you can see we mentioned the word co-poiesis. Poiesis is kind of automatic existence to make performance autonomously, right? The poiesis is kind of collaborative autonomous for the future between men human and non-human. So this is the background that I introduced a little bit. And this year, we just announced the 2024 Digital Futures event. The name is still habitation, but this time it's quantum habitation. What is quantum habitation? Because just like this space, this is a physical space. We want to model this. It's X, Y, Z, and also you can scanning all this facade and paste to the model can represent this as a physical space. But what's the quantum reflection of this space? It's different events. I'm standing here to make a lecture. Tomorrow will be another professor coming here to make a lecture. So the content is changing. We have a lot different multiple existence in this space. It's based on time, it's based on the content, and based on the agent, what's happening inside this space. So the future, the physical space is there, but we should redefine the ways of our understanding on the different copy, multiple existence inside the same space, which could be designed, which could be represented, which could be like designed for this. And also we can experience, maybe on certain platform, you can see different lectures. Physically in the space, you can experience. Wearing the glass, you can experience, listen to the lectures by different professors. So that is something we put forward as a special topic this year, the quantum habitation, to make different research on that. So we have the offline 31 workshops and coming from 9 countries and 29 institutions from all over the world coming to join us, teaching, and instructors have 75, and totally we will have around 500 students participate to this special event. So you can see this is different proposals they made. This is the first workshop leading by my group and also collaborating with Daniela Russ, who is a professor, leading professor in MIT. And she actually very interesting, like training the human noise to define different behavior patterns. And very interesting research is she right now designed for a kitchen. The kitchen, how the human noise can help the people. It's like someone help you to cooking and cleaning, and this kind of behavior will introduce a human noise into your home. So what will happen for that? That's Daniela would like to put forward. That's totally based on this platform, how to train the human noise, how to teach them, how to guiding them to communicate with human body. So this is a workshop on that. And also we have the other workshop. This is from ICD, University of Stuttgart, teaching by Archimagus, a professor also specialized in robotic fabrication. And this is a group from Mario Kappel, who is teaching from UCL and collaborating with Tongji. He is a historian. Actually, he won, because we have a library, a famous professor from MIT donate all his collection, around 3,000 books on Renaissance building research. So a lot of books have a strong relation to the history. So especially the history in the buildings, actually they want to collecting the data and scanning the plans, the facade, the sections, also drawing diagrams, analysis, the Renaissance buildings. They want to train in a special model. If you want to analyze what is a Renaissance buildings, give any plan that can generate not only the space, but also based on the understanding of this data set. And also another group from UCL, Marcos, who is the former dean of UCL. Also, he will teach a workshop on the bio-integrated 3D printing and industrial, based on the industrial waste material and recycled materials. And another team from SciArc, Hernan Alonso, who is a former dean, former director, just stepped down, and he wants to move into Tongji to teach in the next 1 year. He also organized a special workshop on that. And we also have Zaha Hadid office, the code office, they coming every year. So the past 10 years, they organized 10 workshops. And also we have TU Munich and ETH. They collaborate with Southeast University and teaching like the deployable structure system in 9 days in Shanghai. And also we have another robotic ramming workshop organized by the University of Braunschweig, Professor Norman Heck, who is right now collaborating with my team. Also, this kind of robotic 3D printing technology will be will be explored in Shanghai. And another group actually from Fraunhofer, Germany, they actually make research on the historical exterior renovation, how to implement the data-driven high-thermal design to research on the historical building, and how the data set will help to establish certain models to preserve the heritage buildings. And so on and so forth. The others will be announced in the next few days. If you're interested in that, you can scan the Instagram, WhatsApp, and participate online, offline to this workshop. And based on this kind of workshop culture, actually my team, we develop our 3 platforms. This is software platforms, FU Generator, FU Robot, and FU Sense. I introduced this morning. I think it's totally based on our PhD teaching and postdoctoral students. They writing different PhD theses. Originally, maybe it's more on the theoretical or on the design history. But right now, a group of most of my students, actually, they develop their own toolbox from a technology perspective. Actually, this is based on design thinking. And totally based on that, we can not just design, but making things from a different perspective I will introduce later by this platform. So since it's AI for architecture, we're including 3 layers. The general model is laid in the center, which is developed by some AI scientists. It's not our profession, but the architects should, in the future, every office. I talked to a lot of designers, including Winnie Mas is sitting beside me in Venice Biennale. In MRDV, they also have a research team, more than 60 people. Right now, they also training their own AI models. So their understanding about density, also they implement AI into this narrow models. Narrow model is very specific research model, which is based on standing on the shoulders of the big model, this kind of general model, and can training and define your design attitude and your design sketches or your design images from your own office. You can also define certain kind of research like toolbox based on the platform of the general model. And also our PhD students in the 3rd layer is segmentation small models. For example, certain topic, you're collecting the data from the urban space, you're collecting the information from the behavior pattern, different people, how they behave in the city. This kind of model you can training and writing different theses. That is totally, we name it segmentation model. So 3 layers. The center is computer scientists. We cannot do that. But the 2nd layer, 3rd layer is our future application. We're training the model and tuning them. That's super important right now in our PhD program in Shanghai. So this is FU Generator. I think the fundamental motivation on the top is design for sustainability, because we need understanding not just a narrow, small physical space. We need to understanding our relation to the climate. We need to understanding our relation to the material process, and we need to give ID to them to figure out the carbon emission, everything. So the world is not a small world. The world is a global, a planetary world. So how to implement the new tools, understanding further knowledge of our single design. That's super important. And the 2nd is a design platform. We name it as a co-agent generative design platform. It's based on our human body. The chief designer is control the concept, but as well as some AI toolbox we must implement in the office. They support our decision-making process. So based on that, we have 3 very key frameworks, the key technology we develop. The first is we must implement as fast as possible all the open source general models, right? Because every month, every week, on the west coast of America and also in China, a group of R&D and a new company, they actually announce different general models, which is based on billions of data. So to architects, what we have done is to introduce all these new models. If they can open source, we can connecting directly to designers, because designers, they never would like to program. They just would like to use the interface, right? So what our platform can help the future designers to implement this fundamental general model very easily. 2nd, the designers need to establish what is the knowledge graphics. I think the knowledge graphic is important because we have our own knowledge. We have the building technology, we have the historical preservation, heritage preservation. There's a lot of key knowledge the computer scientists never understanding. Only we ourselves can define that. We need to collecting all the data, we need to collecting all the theoretical books, and training label the information by ourselves. And then we can training still the partnership assistant for us to analyze, to introduce what is architecture knowledge. And third, last but not least, is about custom design process. So all the designers have different design making. It's like Grasshopper for Rhino. We should design the process by different toolbox. Every designer will define different toolbox, right? So we design an interactive design process which can help the designers for future to assemble all the toolbox, assemble your own sketch, assemble some master's design images, assemble different optimization toolbox by AI. You can assemble them in different design process. That is the platform we develop. So we design not only just a building, but we design this platform. The platform was implemented in the Venice Biennale, how we can achieve the pavilion in such very short time, actually, not just about conceptual design, but also about the fabrication process. And also this is what we name is explainable. We need to explain the process, not a black box, put them and generate an image. We need to control step by step, right? First. The second, how to control this step. We design a special platform named Unicorn, which is like a Grasshopper for Rhino. This is a Unicorn for FU generator. So we can define this kind of process. So what is that? It's something like this. This is assemble the process and different big model or small models, which can link, and also you can input your sketches as well, and also different information to input to the process and make decisions step by step. So that is assemble process is the benefits from the software to support designers make decision. This is what we're developing, we're doing. And also we're training I write a book on the robotic fabrication as including different concepts, different ideas, and different technologies will relate to each other. We need to link in them, and we need to analyze. If you want to learn something, you need to figure out the book and the knowledge from that. So this kind of knowledge graphic is super important for the future. I think this kind of Mario Couple, who is a historian, this time after he figured out what we have done, he want to training Renaissance architecture AI platform just based on the library which exists in our university. So that is interesting. This kind of training, big data, and generate certain interactive platform is a culture which we introduce to the future. So this is another platform for robotics. I think the big gap between the designers and the result of building is how to connecting the design to making. So every robot is ways. Our partner in the future is not a computer, is not a human body. Our partner could be a robotics. So what we have done over the past 15 years, we developed a software, the interface is in the left, which ranking on GitHub right now the top 3 globally, because we open all this FU robot to the public. Any users, if you buy a robotic, you no need to learn it from the very early version. You can stand in our shoulders because we open everything to you. You can use this, freely use this software. And what this software can do is to introduce the geometry of architecture based on different materiality and translate to the toolpaths, to the robotics. For example, the timbers have a timber subtract process because you need to making joints on the timbers. Addictive structure is 3D printing is addictive, and also we're stacking different bricks is another different crafts. It all could be translated to the multi-layers based on the building technology to some like robotic fabrication process. What we achieved over the past 15 years, we're collaborating with China Construction Group, which is the largest construction group in the whole world. I think they already implement our platform in their prefabrication factory and also on-site factory. This is very fundamental knowledge we developed over the past few years. As well as we also doing this kind of stuff. We established our labs. So left one we established 2015, the right one is 2019. So this prefabrication robotic lab actually is a partner to us, to designers. We can simultaneously translate what our thinking and our design directly to the making process. This is different crafts based on research on that, yes. 2013, we developed the twin robotics on the track to manufacture the timbers. This is like 12 years ago, what's happened. And 10 years ago, we developed this. It's the gantry multifunction robotic timber platforms. And this, my office building actually located in Shanghai and Hong Kong M+ Art Museum collecting a piece of mock-up as a, right now in the exhibition as a long-term permanent exhibition pieces in Hong Kong, because we are the first to introduce the machine in the local crafts. The crafts to the bricks actually could be fabricated not by the hands of human workers, but by the hands of a robotics, right? So we are the first to translate this kind of design thinking process all the way to the making process. This is on-site institute. It's also we name as a matter printer because 6 different crafts could be imported into this like movable, mobile platform. The truck can carry it to any city. For example, we designed a project in Sichuan province, which is like 2,000 kilos away from Shanghai. We just sent 4 of these boxes to the construction site. They stay there just, for example, 4 months, can construct the whole buildings by this platform. So the platform actually link the relationship between the human designers to the making process. So this is machine is something interface we need to develop, design, and control, right? So also we design drones. The drones for not only scanning the information, collecting the data, but also we can 3D printing and carry the bricks. So this is one of my PhD students. From the bottom, every piece is assembled and designed by my student. So we're making more than right now 20 different versions of the drones inside our group. And this is a workshop we're teaching in Singapore last year, the CADRA conference. So I think the very strong part is we can position accurately the brick to connecting to these neighbors in millimeter accuracy, right? So in this process, actually, these drones can pick the brick. This is like a 2 days workshop, so it's not so difficult. But actually, we want to present a new possibility, the human and machine collaborative process to construct something by designers. Actually, this is a design process we should run and control for the future. So coming back to the copoiesis, this time in Venice Biennale. So we name it as a primitive future of architecture intelligence. So this is an exhibition space, which is in the Arsenale, the axis among buildings. So people can interactive. This is a stage or shelter space for the human noise. I think it's like a comparison machine is there, but although it's a machine, it's also the very historical age to them because it's just start. We need to training them, we need to control them. So this is a metaphor actually to this kind of representation of the space feeling in the Venice Biennale to introduce how to communicate with human noise. So this is the object. We actually prefab everything in Shanghai. We start from February the 3rd, I remember. We spent only 1 month to prefab 400 pieces by robotics in Shanghai, and then in Venice, we spent only 7 days to install them again. So that is achievements from the technology. Without the technology, we cannot accurately design and making them in such a short time. Actually, just leading by 2 of my PhD students, so they can working with like 3 workers. It's not a big amount of workers. It's very efficiently the designers as a PhD student can control all this process very easily. So we put forward what is co-poiesis. I analyzed a little bit in the philosopher part. I think which is important to analyze what is the Homo sapiens and the humanoids and nature, the future relationship. I think the poiesis is standing in the middle to balance this kind of dynamics, how to balance this kind of relationship for the futures. So the original concept is from the book I read before, and also mentioned the natural timber roof as a primitive to the humans 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago. But right now we want to design something for the humanoids. It's like humanoids is just starting from 2024, which is a primitive age to them. So last year when we got the invitation from Colorado, we experienced a special typhoon, brought down a lot of trees, which is very tough situation. Every year, the global warming really changed our life in the cities. My studio located the neighbor of the urban forest. When we, every day I was working and running in the urban forestry, we can see around 20% of the trees are blown down by this typhoon. It's very serious. So we are thinking about how to reuse all these kind of timbers because the waste. So the gardeners and also the managed people, they cut them into different pieces. So I talked to my students how we can reuse all this material for the Biennale. So this is the first perspective. And later, the beginning of 2025, in January, there was a big fire in LA. So more than 10,000 buildings are fired, and also including the forest. So these two inspiration is a critical moment to rethinking on the reused material and also rethinking on the global warming. So this is a process. We try to give the ID to each pieces of the waste branches of timbers. Although it's waste material because will be fired or will be sent to any place, right? So we're collecting all these kind of waste branches and label them and give ID to each pieces of the timbers, and which should be based on certain technology. We have the FUSense softwares. So how to document all these components one by one? That is a challenge because we need to categorize the performance, the timber performance, and because we want to calculate in the structures, right? We need to what kind of timbers and what's the material performance for them? Which part? It's a street or it's a bench, it's a trunk. So it's all, we need to categorize this ID system carefully. This is my friend, my students. They actually implement the special software to 3D scanning, taking around 20 images, 20 photos, and by the FUSense, we very shortly model them to the 3D model of each pieces of the branches accurately in the millimeter centigrades. So these, the students study architecture right now. I talk to my students, not just drawings in the clean desk. You should making your hands dirty because you're architects. Architects need to do something like you're touching the material. You need to learn how to construct a building, right? So they use like their mobile phone or different instruments to scanning pieces by pieces and then modeling one by one. So totally we're scanning more than 500 pieces and finally we use around 400 pieces of this kind of waste timber material. So we designed this building based on this technology. And the process actually, we're stacking all these kind of elements by AI because every pieces have a different length and different radius, right? And different scale and different like geometry, right? Some straight, some not straight at all. So how to position them into this geometry system? We base on the AI to help us to position them. And then we should calculate all these components in the stacking geometry system because we need to approve from the organizing team from Biennale, they need us to calculate. So we're adding some like very strong main structure system in the middle to evaluate if it's safe or not. And based on that, we know the relationship between each other. Then human body can never position each pieces accurately because you don't know. You take a irregular natural wood, you never know how to position every pieces because every pieces, the maximum will have relation to 7 pieces to their neighbors. You'll be crazy to make the joints, right? But robotics is based on the model. They can carry them and milling them accurately, efficiently. That's the machine, the difference between machine and humans. So sometimes the machine can be much smart and accurate than human body. We can make use of them, their skills like this, right? This is a different joints, which milling by the machine. And you can see here, the joints, put them together. And also we're milling like the geometry on the surface by the machine, how to make them. So this is a scientific process, my PhD. As a PhD, you need to write thesis, right? So this PhD make a long-term research over the past 3 years, just on the grapplers. You need to grasp the piece of timber in a certain geometry way because you need to know which part, which direction you grasp them, firstly. Secondly, could be like the effectors could be changed because you want to milling some part, you need to not touching the machine, the another machine, right? You need to calculate which part you can position. So based on this kind of algorithm we developed over the past 3 years, we can very easily this time to manipulate all the process by a scientific research toolbox. And then this is the categories, how to put different pieces on different positions. And also we use digital twins to modeling every pieces. Although they are natural wood, we exactly use mesh to modeling every pieces accurately. So this is a process for the manufacture. And the most important, we have 3 workers. They are very old workers, but the most important thing is wearing the VR to help them to position each piece because they will understand the accurate position by the glasses. They can teach them how to position each pieces. And this is actually the theory of how to position all this by different, I have maybe skipped this part because it's very technology, and how to use three different scales. We name it 3 different scales to coupling different scanning message by the accuracy. Maybe from the room 10 meters to 20 meters, you should be no need to be too accurate. It's just like a centimeter is enough. But if you want to position 2 pieces together, it must be millimeter accuracy, right? So that's based on the process we define here. This is a mathematical process. And in order to very accurately construct this pavilion in Venice, we actually define how to position them carefully in Shanghai, and including the foundation, including how to position 3 foundations on the accurate way, because in Arsenale, the 4 column is not linear. It's not a square. Because it's not very accurate for the buildings there. But how we can position our pavilion accurately inside between these 4 columns. That's the ways how we define and how we position by machines and how we censoring the boundary and just make an accurate process to define the cables in the bottom as a tension tables, because this is very heavy, the whole pavilion, and also how to subdivide in different parts, and also we use drones to scanning every day to position if every piece is on the right location. So this is the whole process with scanning the pavilion during the construction, and then we can parallel analyze all these accuracy issues of the construction process. So you can see it's the same wearing the glass or take another iPad. You can see the modeling and the reality just by machines, right? So this is the final scanning in Shanghai before transportation. And these are I think the modeling process for the whole geometry, and also how to stacking all this kind of natural wood into this geometry system, step by step. And now to fabricate them pieces by pieces accurately from the virtual model to the reality. So these are the final design. So in Arsenali, you can see before the construction, we introduce this VR firstly, because the workers need to learn. There are different workers. There are Italian workers. We need to teach them how to position all this complicated geometry and very complicated different pieces of timbers in the right position. It's all by this kind of toolbox. We're training them very fast. They can learn just in one day, right? You can see this is a whole process. Every workers can implement the iPad and the glasses to know each pieces or each prefab units if they are in the right position in a very efficient way, because the virtual model and the reality is simultaneous. You can see the difference between them. From the real structure all the way to the final results. So every day we need to scanning them and know if every piece is in the right location. So some, like my PhD students guided the workers, 3 workers, how to position each pieces accurately. Just it's arbitrary, it's random, right? And how to position them in the right place. So this is a video showing the construction process. So when we arrive in Venice, it's by boat, right? And the mafia, Italian mafia, it's difficult to talk to them how to transport this box accurately to the exhibition space, right? 20 different boxes. This is the whole process, as you can see. We have some prefabricated units, and we have the VR to guide it how to construct them in only like 6-7 days, very short time. Okay, and next we have humanoids. This is a stage for humanoids and how to training the human state. I briefly introduce including autonomy, the learning, imitation process, and also the consciousness. So actually, what we try to challenge, because humanoid right now is just you program it and use some controllers, and they can be doing other very complicated behaviors. But what we want to do is actually, we want to performance with them. Yeah. So someone play the instruments and the humanoids will give feedback to yours. So that is, you can see the humanoids can like playing with the kind of music here and also can talk to people. So the process is by the data collecting and also the trying to redirect this position from the human videos all the way to training them by software to the humanoids. The humanoid have 32 axes, human body. Every hand had 22 axes. So it's very complicated process to how to position all this behavior all the way to the humanoids. You need to training them by AI. It's a reinforced learning process. And after training, you also need to, from the simulation to the reality, is a very strong gap. You need to test to a lot of failures, use Mojoko, this kind of softwares, to training them how to walk, how to perform, how to dance. Right? This is working flow. So you can see the process in the laboratory. My PhD students, they just start 3 months ago. So it's a learning curve. It's very slow. They need to training the fundamental, very basic behaviors to this human noise. So this is the motion capture, the motion control, and the humanoid movement, which based on different softwares. We have lots of softwares, including the first step is a Kinect camera to take some dancers, the human dancers. We training 12 different behavior patterns from the human dancers, all the way to get the skeleton of the dancer and how to transfer this kind of motion by Mojoko software all to training the humanoids. And after that, we implement FE Robot is our software, which can integrate the environment and the sensoring, the agent position and the behavior inside a certain kind of environment, and then we use the other different softwares to translate from simulation all the way to the real behavior. So this is the first step. You can see we're shooting and record your human dancer, how they can behave, and translate to some skeleton. And then we can translate position or project them, this behavior, to the humanoid's body. But because of the gravity, they are different to figure out the direction at the very beginning. And then after the certain kind of, we name it as teacher training or the student training, different process, they will slightly understand maybe your leg is primary to your arms, and your arms is primary with your hands. So it's kind of the ways how to behavior in certain kind of ways which only humanoids can understand, right? So you can see after 2 months, we can training them in a very good ways. And right now we training them different pattern, behavior pattern, 12 different pattern. They can autonomously take different actions, react to the music. So in the future, we need training more. I think this is not a one group work, it's a lot of people can training them, and then the humanoids will become smarter and smarter in the future by AI training. So we can imagine right now it's not a very good, in an urban space like this auditorium, the humanoids with humans can working together, interactive together by different behavior pattern, right? That is some future we try to figure out the co-agent process to the planet. So this is the design process and the training process here. Yes. Very primitive, right? Because it's just starting. But in China, I think it's a good culture because such kind of AI and humanoid and human robotics is a frontiers. All the universities actually have the young generation, they engage a lot to this kind of technology. And as a designer, we try to figure out how to introduce all this kind of intelligent agency to the space, the future space in the cities, and the future, like the human life in the city, in the future cities. This is the story of the whole process. After the typhoon in Shanghai, that's the video introduction. We're shooting the photos with the humanoids and my team and PhD and graduate students, and also a few workers working with us. So this is the prefab pavilion in Shanghai, and we transport this to Venice. So this is in Shanghai. And that's the final presentation, final image. Thank you a lot to introduce. Thanks for your attention. Welcome to, maybe the talk is more interesting. This morning, the lecture, I think I make a one and a half hours lecture, but the talk is around more than 1 hour. It's a lot of questions from students. So it's good make discussion. I think what we're doing maybe is not a narrow definition of architecture, but I think that's a general definition of what is the future architects, and our understanding what is design we should consider between a designer and architects to the built environment surrounding us, what is design. Maybe it's very experimental, maybe it's not right, but we want to test test the possibility, especially on the platform of the biennale. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Yuan. As you mentioned, this morning was a very long discussion, but I hope that from the audience there are some questions also in this long afternoon. Do you have some question or concern or opinion about what you see today?
So thank you again, also since this morning. Just to break the ice, because you have this workshop methodology, and to connect with the pedagogy. In your opinion, how the atelier and the studio courses will be evolved into? Because nowadays we have there's this big guy teaching something. In fact, in your version, it's more collective and based on technology and the reflection between the students. Like, what do you think about the future of the design studios?
That's very good question, actually. In all the universities, especially in my university, Tongji is one of the best university in China. Actually, we're training a lot of professional architects, and some of them are very like a signature architect, and some of them are going to the commercial company, and some of them become the researchers and as a professor, right? There's different approaches to, and during the past 15 years, we make a lot of discussion because the workshop culture is great, but actually it's like the parallel teaching every year is not the main content. I think, to me, I think the main content, how to training an architect is important because we need like very fundamental knowledge, including the history knowledge, including what is the building, architecture buildings. The architecture have a gravity. You need to understand the gravity. You need to learning some structures, things, and also building technology. This kind of knowledge you must learn. That based on certain courses. I think what's my attitude is the original knowledge is no change. You must learn, but you need to learn super fast because some additional knowledge is coming. You need to learn more. So how to balance it? I think as a good university, I think it's still very important to establish some fundamental skills. So we make a lot of discussion, what is the fundamental skills for the future architect? Like you need to have the skills understanding the space, you need to learn how to represent a space, and you need to learning the structures like MEP, all this kind of knowledge as a prior knowledge to what is architecture. And but something plus that. So we in Tongji, I'm the associate dean, and also I'm taking care of a very special class. We name it experimental class because me myself, 30 students, I can teach them from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, design a different like a framework how to training them. So we invited different critics every year to my studio. But I think what we achieve is the first one difference to the other studios is like my students in this special class, they spend more time compared to the others. The first, because if you're interested learning, for example, you need to join at the very beginning, like 10 years ago, we don't agree to join by computer before the year 3. But right now, everyone join by computer. And right now, like 3 years ago, no one agreed to introduce AI to the design process, but every studio right now implement AI. So I think the young students, they have their new understanding about the instruments, about the different toolbox. Why not just encourage them to use all this toolbox? So what I achieved over the past 3 years, I developed FU generator 3 years ago. We self-custom AI tools because it's like the fundamental infrastructure have 50 different AI toolbox. We establish a fundamental. You can pick and make use of them. Because my team, a lot of very good scripting people. So after the PhD developed platform, the undergrad students can make use of this platform to critique on the platform itself. And this platform can actually augment the design skills and the imagination skills in a different way. So that's why I think as a teaching studio, you should challenge. But you should consider what is the core things never change, but you still should challenge the core system. So it's like a debate and also a challenge process. So I don't think the new technology means everything. I think the tradition knowledge is important, but as well as the new challenge, you need to encourage, develop a new toolbox into the tradition design process. That's what we achieve. The first. The second, I think, use your hand, make your hands dirty is important. You need to learn how to make models. But in my studio, one-to-one, we need to make a chair, we need to make like installation. Sometimes one-to-one mock-up for the facade, you need to do it by yourself. I think I encourage the one-to-one thinking. You use your hand to understand what is the building, what is the material. I think that's important for the future education. And also, I think it should be very open to different discipline. So because in the architecture discipline is very tradition, you never always would like say no to the others because you don't understand architecture, because architecture is difficult to analyze. It's our understanding, but actually we find if we collaborate with data scientists, we collaborate with robotic scientists, it's very interesting. In my team this time, the humanoid is from our mechanical school from Tongji, because we're collaborating with them. We need to learn how to control these humanoids in behavior in space, how to control them. It's a learning curve. It's very difficult. Why not? We should learning. This is your discipline. It's not our discipline. But sometimes, if you put the robotics into the space, that's our issue because we are designing space, right? We're designing the ways how to communicate with people, how to communicate with humanoids. That's the designers for the future. So I think the third is important to critically thinking our studio should be open to the other discipline. Not just structural engineer, MEP engineer, but some like computer scientists, robotics scientists should be also, and the material scientists. You need to learn from them. I think that is the broad future, especially to our education. But we just try to frame what is the studio system, but it's not one day black and white. It's like a slow process, how to introduce something new. And sometimes we test to failure. It's not good because they lose some skills. But we go back and to start again. But I think the ways for me over the past 15 years, we try to establish something which you solidly can encourage the discipline growing. That is the question to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yuan again. One question from the audience. Thank you. Thank
you. Thank you for the mesmerizing presentation. It was completely awe-striking. I have a question. In one of your slides, you described about fine-tuning the model, developing LoRa's, and how the existing database is used for future prosperity in the same field. But do you not feel that it is creating a huge gap between people who are already existing in the field, who have a good database of their own, versus the people who are initially starting off their work in the domain? AI is supporting the people who are already like having a strong database, and it's creating a huge gap between the ones who are already established between the ones who are starting because of plagiarism. So do you not feel this gap is just widening like?
It's a very good question. Actually, I got invitation to in Shanghai, we have like a city brain, a special control center belong to the Shanghai government. In Pudong area, it's like the Pudong have 2.5 million people living in Pudong district, part of Shanghai. And when I visit the office, I find it's super interesting. There is 5 million sensors in Pudong area, on the street, in the elevator, or in the lobby, or in the bank. So that means one human body, you are facing with 2 different sensors. And on the street, on the highway, especially very high density, even on the floor, you can have different sensors sensoring the heat and the material, a lot of things in the infrastructure system. So in the future, the super big data is coming out. The guys why invite us to visit them, because they are feel no direction how to make use of these data. So I think for the designers, the first step in the modernism time is by joins, right? The data is by the XYZ, you join on the paper. But in the digital age, you start modeling them by the XYZ, but actually it's a 3D model. And also the BIM system is not just a 3D model, we're adding like different families inside this room. We have the window family, we have the doors family, we have the walls family, right? We have the desk family. There's different definition about the data. In the city, also different. Infrastructure system, the road system, circulation system is all different families of data. I think the future is more data. Why we name it a quantum system? Because it's multi-dimension. It's more than 3, 4, 5. It's more than different definition to define the space, define the agent in the space. So the ways of modeling should be changed. So I think it's a very important scientific question to put forward how we can analyze our physical life. For example, how many people here and what's the background of yours? Maybe it should be in some big black boxes because of the privacy issue, but maybe the future you cannot control with so many sensors everywhere. And because of you tracing you enter into the campus, then you will understand this one is in the campus. All the human behaviors could be controlled by different layers of information. I think the big data have no use, but how to change the big data to some small data, because the data should serving the human behaviors, right? So I think the future design is a new discipline, which is based on the data-driven and rethinking, and designer become a decision maker from aesthetic perspective, ethical perspective, and make decision, but actually the data will represent the world in a different way, because a lot of data can present the space in a different way. Yes?
So wise enough to select the niche of your data.
Yes, yes.
And the creativity in documenting this physical space in a new way is the two direction of thought.
For example, we need to, if you want to see the air condition, there is the air condition simulation in the space, for example. People will feel very comfortable or uncomfortable, because if the wind flow is not very fluent, but this is, you cannot visualize them. But based on the data, you can visualize them in a very simultaneous way. And you can control the space. You needn't to change the physical space. It's physical space just a square, right? But you can control the MEP system, you can open the window, that is change. You can visualize how the wind can flow in the space. So that is the design issue. The design is not just about fancy form, it's about the initial logic, right? You need to define all this kind of initial logic. You can represent this knowledge by the data set. So it's based on different discipline, based on how you make use of this data in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's any other question or comments? Okay, and I have one.
Thank you. Thank you for presenting us the process behind what we could visit in Venice or students can visit in the next months. So just to sum up, so you introduced first a process of construction of this structure based on robotic construction through cutting the modeling and cutting the timber structure, and then a second step that was training humanoids to play quite basic, quite primitive actions like playing music or dancing inside this kind of art, inside this kind of primitive shapes. But do you have already experiences where you train humanoids playing specifically with the space? So because this is a next step potentially, so asking them to interact with this kind of space in order to make as you used, coexist with the human being, human body in the interaction with architectural places. So this is, I think, the big challenge.
Yes.
So
it's a very good question, especially from a curator's perspective. I think we got invitation to design the pavilion, physical pavilion at the very beginning, but Carlo Ratti actually invited not just my team, I know that later, University of Tokyo, ETH, Grammar Scholar team, and also MRDV, Vinimas, they have a research team which is doing 3D printing. They also beside us. I think all these teams got requirements. You must introduce some machine. Could be some, Zhang Li make a machine that's scanning the information inside this room. And ETH, University of Tokyo, and Tongji, we actually, and MIT as well, we introduce humanoid into the pro. So because this time is very limited before the exhibition, only 3 months, we're training them. So it's not excellent right now. But tomorrow we'll have a meeting, online meeting with Carlo on the way to Milano. We will establish a 6-month workshop during the exhibition. That is like a laboratory. We're collaborating with each other, sharing these softwares, because I'm very glad to sharing this to the other universities, because we achieve a lot how training the humanoids. They can learning. MIT can training in Cambridge, but also we have humanoids in Venice. And if there easily someone there to control all these humanoids, make different performance in Venice. So it's like the workshop is permanent in the next 6 months, including Digital Future Workshop is part of them. And also we have some other workshop we team up by different universities and just learn how to train in humanoids. So your question goes to if this perfectly performance on the stage or not, will based on how we try to put forward the question, how would you like to interact with them from the visitors. So I would like to give this openly to the future participants from different research teams, some PhD students from different universities. They can team up. Right now, MIT postdoctor is there, and I have two PhD students there. So they already learning how to stacking different bricks by humanoids on the bridge, on the stage. So that's one performance. That's motivation could be defined by different people, but how to teach them humanoid to pick, for example, a bottle and put them from this table to here. It's not easy. That need to training them to do this. But after you training them, they will be smarter and smarter. That's the very fascinating. So they will emerge to be extremely smart, like AI. So in the near future, because we believe that. So right now, it's like a primitive age. I define it's very difficult to control them. It's dangerous, actually, sometimes, because They were walking, their arm will like the boxer to box you. So that is very dangerous actually right now. So that's why we use cables to control them on the stage. So this is like the design for the Venus Banner. And when Scholar, they're just hanging one humanoid in the sky because they think it's dangerous. It's just make performance like in the sky space, right? That's different performance. But that's the thinking from Carlo Ratti, actually. He wants to introduce humanoids to the future urban space or the interior space. But that's right now only the very primitive time to interact with these guys. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other question from the audience? Okay.
So thank you for your presentation also this morning was mesmerizing, and I would like to ask you this question. And we always talk about, we hear someone say, oh, AI today do these amazing things, maybe not now, but later 2, 5, 10 years, AI will do everything. In your opinion, researcher point of view, there's something that AI will not able to do?
Yeah, that's a very difficult question. To me, I think the attitude is most important. For example, autonomous driving for cars. Very critically, even in America, I think I visit San Francisco last year. You can asking for a taxi without driver. They can send you to any place just by your app from Apple. You can just link to the taxi, and the taxi will driving anywhere you want to go. Already there. And in China, the electric car is everywhere. In Shanghai, 50% on the street are electric car right now, 50%, because the government encourage. And in this 50% autonomous car in Shanghai, all of them have the autonomous driving model. Although some like special traffic's happening, but it's super fast for this kind of intelligence introduced into the real human life. That's the difference between Europe and China, I think. I already experienced that. In the States, only San Francisco or the West Coast, they are open to this. But the East Coast is not open as well. But I think it's critical thinking what will happen, or if it's dangerous, or if the AI will replace the architects or replace the future human. I think that's a very critical question, because I'm the council member for the UIA right now. We make a huge discussion 2 weeks ago, Barcelona, on if AI should be introduced to architects in the UIPPC, professional practice group from different countries, make discussion. 2 years ago, I make the proposal, but no one agree on me. But this year, the president, Regina, president of UIA, put forward this, the most primary priority first question to be discussion in the whole UIA, because we must have some like accord or some like guidelines, how to control all this toolbox to the profession. Because, for example, in Shanghai, surrounding Tongji are a lot of small design companies. We have hundreds of rendering companies 5 years ago, but right now, no rendering company at all. Why? Because replaced by AI. Every office you can use rendering or video. You can make some videos by yourself. So no company, no serving company on that. So that is something really change our discipline. So to the designer, the most important, Regina, the president of UIA, we agree on each other. We talk to each other in Venice this time. The primary one is the designer, human architects should have the authorship in the future discipline. That means we should still control the machines and AI intelligence. How to control them? You cannot say no to but it's impossible because everything is coming too fast. It's not our discipline, it's the whole world. It's like ChatGPT, everything, DeepSeek, everything is coming. It's coming super fast. But the most important, how to establish a higher hierarchy. Who is the final decision maker? Who can put forward a question? Maybe the solution could be like AI assistant, but who can put forward the question? Who can define the working flow, the main logic? I think this kind of thing. Who can make the communication with the others? These kind of things, I think humans have the even stronger skills than the machines. So I cannot answer your question, but I think that is a very good question. I have no answer. Thank you.
Thank you again. Any final question or thoughts? Okay.
Okay, thank you for the very inspiring presentation, but my question is a bit about your personal opinion. I've understood that AI and these robots can make perfect shapes exactly as you wanted, but my question is that sometimes this imperfection is what make people belong to something, like to feel a sense of identity. Do you feel like there's an extent, or do you think, how could it be in the future? Does it really get our identity? Because I've heard you were telling that architects must stay the one who controls, but how about the feeling?
That's a very difficult question. I think 20 years ago, I'm a tradition architect. I'm trained as a tradition architect, and also I'm a good architect. In China, we win a lot of competition when I was young. But years later, especially over the past 20 years, I actually influenced a lot by the toolbox, by the machinic process, including the robotics to me. I think my working flow, my thinking process has totally changed because we need to understand how the robot is working, and when you put forward the idea, you understand the ways how they construct building. It's like you're learning the building technology. It's the same. So I think I feel very open to this. We should be changed. If you compare to someone 1,000 years ago, you have already changed a lot. If you compare to like 500 years ago, like Renaissance time, you change a lot. Because the modernism gave the enlightenment to human beings. I think the AI is a new alignment to the whole social process and the whole planet. But our motivation should make something for the sustainable for the planet, because there are too many people to develop technologies here. How we can survive on this planet with each other. So that's the key issues. Maybe the problem and the ways how to solve the problem is changed, right? Because it's always changing. Yes, that's my thinking. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Any other question of thoughts or comment? No? I just want to thank you, Professor Yuan, for your lecture. I think that today we discussed a lot about the new role of architecture and architects in the future, so how our professor will develop in the next years. So I hope everyone enjoy both the discussion and the lecture, because we're very engaging, both of them. And thank you to be here, and thank you for Professor Yuan. Thank you.